Aloha and welcome to the Big Island Hawaii Ultra show, and this is show number 9, our interview with Dr. Jacob Head, who's a local veterinarian here on the Big Island. And I thought I'd show a little video of dogs walking, since we did indeed discuss such things in the show. So please enjoy. Aloha, Dr. Jacob Head. How are you today? Happy Kentucky Derby Day.
Good morning. Good morning.
How's everything in Kona today?
It is bright and sunny as usual, and yeah, just getting going this morning. So, yeah.
Hey, are you gonna? I noticed. I think you're probably somewhat on the same schedule as I've been as far as running. You know, you've been running early in the morning and trying to get, I don't know, get it out of the way.
Yeah, it's kind of in the last few years getting more into endurance racing and stuff, and working a full-time job and having a family. That's where you have to do that 5 a.m. run or 6 a.m. run, and in a sense get it out of the way. But and then here and there on the weekends you can, or other times, get in a good, better quality afternoon run or something. So yeah.
Well, like we talked a little bit before the show, I have no idea where you guys are originally from, where you're from, where you grew up.
Yeah, so in Hawaii, I'm actually one of the rare ones that is born and raised in Kona. It seems to always come up a little as a shock to a lot of people, just because I think especially in our community, running community, and races and stuff, you don't always meet very many people from Kona. So
Where'd you go to grade school? Where'd you go to high school?
So I was raised in South Kona. We had a coffee farm and a Macnut farm, and then went to Ho'okena down south, and then up to Konawaina for high school. And yeah, so moved away for a long time. I went to college in Colorado and stayed in Colorado for almost 20 years before coming home. So.
That's where the connection, because I spent 25 years in Colorado and stuff, and that's when I see you guys go back. Where'd you go to college?
I went to Colorado State University.
CSU Rams.
That's right. So it was, the reason for going to Colorado was to kind of get far away from Hawaii in a sense, and at the same time choose one of the veterinary schools that was and still is one of the better programs, and ended up in Fort Collins, and it was just Fort Collins is wonderful. Just absolutely love that town. So.
Oh yeah, well, I get in trouble with a lot of parents because sometimes the kikis will come ask me, so what should I do, Uncle Joe, after I graduate high school? And I tell them, leave.
Yeah.
Go experience something else.
Yeah, it's one of those growing up experiences that I am firmly believe in, that you want to get out, spread your wings, be your own person, and it's kind of easy because you're still in the confines of a university, a school, and a program, and so you're still protected, but you're still kind of being your own person. So,
where did you meet your lovely wife, Jolene? Where'd you meet her?
So in Colorado. So I went to veterinary school, stayed in Fort Collins for a while, and then became a veterinarian. First 9 years of my career was in emergency medicine, and so worked in various emergency hospitals after my internships, and in around Denver. And we met at a veterinary clinic that I was working at. She came on as one of our nurses, and so we met there. So.
Yeah, I know. In fact, isn't there one of this? Is it CSU that has the rather famous veterinary emergency hospital?
There used to be ER Vets was one of the first shows. It was actually out of a hospital in Denver that actually knew a fair amount of my classmates that were on the show. Yeah, I mean, the school itself has a lot of good programs, but not aware of any program or TV shows or anything. So, yeah. So
Can they do knee replacements for people?
If you bark or meow, maybe we can get you in.
That's Stedman Hawkins Clinic in Vail, don't you?
Yeah, yep, absolutely. Fortunately, have not had to use them, but yes. So
I'm a graduate.
There you go. So
yeah,
so she's from Montana and had moved to Colorado. Kind of when I was in Fort Collins, and then we met in Boulder area. So
I didn't realize she's from Montana and stuff. I knew, I kind of vaguely know, where people are when they're from the mainland and stuff. But
yeah.
And so after, what was the deciding? Why did you come back to Hawaii? Was it mainly because this is where you should be, or?
Interesting story. We came home to visit, once or twice a year. See my parents, or my mom and my stepdad, who I grew up with, they're still here in the farm. And so we were home visiting, and it was kind of 10 years out of school, and kind of thinking about career options. At that point, I was the director of a hospital in Washington State. And running the hospital, but just as an employee. And so thought about possible ownership, and there happened to be this practice for sale here in Kona. And ended up moving back about a year later. So
who used to own it? Who's the previous owners?
Originally the hospital was built by Doc McCoy. And so a lot of people in Kona and Hawaii will be familiar with the name McCoy. And not only was he the first state veterinarian or area veterinarian for Hawaii, but he also had his home and his small little veterinary practice here in Kona. So he built the practice starting in '62 up on the old road, Honolulu Road, which was the old around the highway. And then it went through a couple different ownerships, Dr. Braun, Dr. Polshuk, and then me. So it's an interesting old building. So we still feel Doc McCoy's presence there every once in a while.
Yeah, I think I've only been there once. I dropped off shirts for you guys for one of the races and stuff.
Yeah,
it was about the only time, since I'm unfortunately the only animals I have are like the horses you can see in the background there up on Mono Road.
Right. Yeah, it's we've transformed it over the last 10 years and mostly over the last year, mostly to convert it from what it was as a house into the layouts that we can make it more efficient for a clinic. And so we've been spending a lot of energy actually doing that instead of training.
Well, so. I noticed you have a very modern bathroom now.
Yeah. So my wife is an interior designer by schooling, and a veterinary nurse and practice manager. But and then I'm the hands-on, veterinarian, surgeon, and remodeler.
Yes, if you're a surgeon, you can then be a carpenter, right?
Yeah, you just got to be careful.
Oh yeah, let's see. Oh, okay, yeah, still got those.
Still got all these things. So make sure I pay my insurance.
When you were back at CSU, or did you run Kona Waina? Were you on the track team at Kona Waina, or?
When I was growing up, I played soccer, was my first choice. And then when I got into high school, I started playing football. And then, so kind of did those sports mainly. I played baseball. I have an uncle who played for the Yankees. And so I had some, interest there. But mainly it was football and soccer. And, people around here will know me because I was the quarterback for Konawaina for a while. So, for my senior year. But, and then never did do running and track, was quite often recruited to run, but just didn't have an interest in running specifically. My knees kind of hurt, when I was growing up so fast, and just wasn't enjoyable to me. So
and running used to be a punishment if you played football.
yeah. And so, I was fairly fast for here, and but more as sprinting and not out just to run. So
when you got to CSU, did you start running? Just I mean, it's great at Fort Collins.
Yeah, my running career, I honestly will say that probably started maybe 2 or 3 years after we got here, so closer to when I was actually 40. So not quite 40, but I think my wife was always a runner. She was always the one out going, putting in the miles every day, and not for really anything specific, but just to go and run and be healthy. And I think what probably got us into it here was we immediately became trying to get involved in the community. And we started, sponsoring a lot of the races, the local races. When the Kona Marathon was here at the the old Keaho hotel, and we sponsored all the children's event medals and awards. Big Island Running Company, and so we truly tried to work into it there. And as we got more into it, running more and more, but thinking about how I was going to continue my quote unquote sports career, coming back home and maybe getting into triathlons again. That's what kind of more got me into running again. And or initially, because again, I was never a runner. Even when I was in Colorado, if I did endurance stuff, I was on my mountain bike.
Yeah.
I did Leadville 100, HawaiiUltra.
Wait a second here. You did
back in Colorado on my mountain bike, not running.
Oh, you did the mountain bike race though, yeah.
Yeah. So I was more into mountain biking and that sort of thing in Colorado. So.
And back then, no, that wasn't. I mean, long time ago when I first started biking and stuff. Mountain bikes are about $500-600, but when you're
you get my cheap little college Giant that I bought for probably $300 or $400, and worked great, going from your classroom to your dorm room. But you start taking out on the trail, and you get about 2 miles in, and you need new wheels. And
yeah, stump jumper sport is one of my first bikes.
Yeah. So mine was some random Giant, bike. So, but
that's cool. In fact, I just saw that the June events for Leadville have been canceled because of the situation and stuff. The 100-miler, the 100-mile run and bike ride, I think, is still on for September. I can't remember when they actually do them.
Yeah, they're typically in August.
August, yeah.
I believe. It's been 14 years since I've done Leadville, but amazing race, amazing experience, and it's something that was, I don't know, these things were, I don't know that they were always necessarily fun. I think we all have this weird, crazy idea of what fun is, but I think for me, it's always been doing something different, doing something new, being out in nature. I think that's where I liked mountain biking and hiking and stuff in Colorado more so than pounding the pavement and doing the road racing. So
yeah, I think it's for a lot of people, it's the fact that everything else goes away and you're focused on nature. You got to watch out for bears, you got to watch out for mountain lions, bobcats. You got to watch out for that rut on the trail that
Yep.
you're going to hit.
Yeah, you hit a rut, and then you're all of a sudden sitting in front of a bear. So, yeah, I definitely had lots of encounters with wildlife, which is only once or twice been a little bit terrifying. About 300-pound bear that's staring you down. But all the other stuff has been pretty easy. But yeah, it's that's where I kind of got hooked on doing the more endurance stuff. Was there in Colorado. So.
Yeah, I've lived in Aspen for like 25 in the Roaring Fork Valley for 25 years. So, for me, that was, it's just real special. It's like here, I mean, as far as if there's two places I could be, it would be either Colorado or here.
Yeah. There's, a lot of beautiful mountains, and for me, it just happened to be where I went to school, but count myself as being very lucky to choose that place because just the access to trails, but still you're around the cities and kind of get the best of both worlds there. So
yeah, let's see. Fort Collins, they have some pretty good beers in Fort Collins, if I remember correctly.
yeah, New Belgium, Fat Tire, that's Cooper Smith's. Those are a couple of great places. And when you're a college kid, then you go to Old Chicago's and do their beer tours. See how many times you can do those.
What?
So, yeah, so good beer in Colorado.
So I want to certainly give you guys a shout out, you and your wife. For as much, I'm a race director for Path and stuff, and you guys are amazing. The races that you sponsor, the races that you just volunteer at, you guys just support the community incredibly. I mean,
like I said, when we got back here, we firmly believe in giving back, and as a business owner also, we just wanted to be able to give something. And in the beginnings when we did this, it wasn't a whole lot. We don't, even now, we don't always have a whole lot extra to give, but it is something that, we just wanted to give back. And for us, it's always about the children. And, like with the Kona Marathon, it was about giving awards to children, not just a medal, and giving them a pair of shoes or a running shirt or something that would help to motivate them to keep going and say, wow, that was fun. I did a mile run, or I did my 10K, or whatever the age, appropriate race was for them, but it kind of got them a little bit more motivated. And if they couldn't afford a pair of running shoes and they were out there running in their high tops, maybe it got them a little bit more excited. So,
I mean, you guys are at every race, and races that are not races, like the P-Man events, the Team Mango events and stuff. And you work in conjunction with the Daniel Sayer Foundation a lot, I think.
We definitely supported them, and and also kind of being from here, I think also kind of ties in with them. They've been here for a long time, and the the foundation that they've had, and so and I don't know, we just believe that getting out and participating, we don't go to church or do certain things. We go out in nature, and if it's not a race, then we're doing something outside and getting some fresh air, talking to your higher power however you want. So that's our belief, is getting out there. But if you give a little bit of money, but you also have to show up, I think, and spend some time and participate or volunteer. I do a lot more participating than volunteering sometimes, but I have a great Sherpa in my family.
Jolene's not around the corner or anything. I tell us.
No.
She's so great. She signs up for the whole family
Yep.
And I have to keep her on track because she will, if given the option, she will continually sign up for the same race multiple times.
Yep. Well, as soon as you send out notifications, she has to be, okay, well, I got to get that done. So she just does it immediately. And then, that's, 6 months before the race or whatever it was. And then she's like, well, I don't remember if I signed up, so I'll just sign up again. So
we have a program now. She needs to check before she signs up.
Yep. So, yeah. But, no, we like getting out, and none of us around here are very good at being sedentary. So, it's easy for us to get out and go, and it forces you to get up and get your exercise in and enjoy the rest of the day.
So this year, let's see. Hey, I've been going through the litany so far every show. Let's see. We've had Kona Marathon just got canceled. It's the Kona Marathon now at Waikoloa. Honu. Were you signed up for Honu?
So yeah, this was actually the first year I was going to do that as a relay. And
who's going to be the team? Was it going to be the family?
No, we don't really have a swimmer in the family.
Wait. I think you do.
I'm a reluctant swimmer because of triathlon. Not very good at all. But no, I had signed up with, Billy Rickards.
Yeah.
And so he got a team together, and I don't recall who our swimmer was, but he was going to do the bike, and then I was going to do the run. So obviously that's been postponed, and I have a feeling I don't know that it's going to happen, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, kind of, I don't know, the rumor I just heard, I mean, I'm no longer the aid station director for Ironman, but the rumor that I heard was that even the October race, they might actually try to reschedule that for February.
Right. Yeah, I heard that.
So, but we'll see. I mean, everything kind of changes day to day.
Yeah. Well, I think
you've done Lava Man many times, right?
I'm sorry.
You've done Lava Man many times.
I've done Lava Man I think 5 or 6 times, and I don't know that I've ever had a good race there. I got into Lava Man. My reason for kind of getting into Lava Man or even triathlon was I was one of those little purple speed bumps. The team in training, my
purple people.
Yeah, and my daughter's when she was in first grade, she lost one of her friends to leukemia.
Oh.
And so that was one of it was a good support race for her family and the team in training, Leukemia Foundation. But it also kind of ignited my desire to start doing triathlon, and about that same time when I kind of needed to do something different. So I did that, and did it every year for 5 years in a row, and was invariably that time of year sick or getting over something or just not properly trained, kind of going into this nilly-willy and saying, oh yeah, I'll just go out and run and bike and,
it's just swim, bike, run.
And so, just never really did well. I actually finished the race one year with about 102.6 fever.
Yikes.
And finished, but shouldn't have raced. So
and that race that race can be deceptively tricky. I mean, the swim is beautiful. Do you remember the one year where the tide was gone and we had about this much room between the reef?
Yep. Yeah, crawling over the coral and hoping you didn't get lacerations, you could finish your race. So.
And then the bike ride is a little bit deceptive because when you get to Kukio, you go down that and make that turn, then go under in that tunnel, which has a steep uphill when you come out of it. So that can be a little tricky. And then the run, I don't want to even think about the last, what is it, quarter mile or a third of a mile on the run.
Yeah, it's like you feel like you can see it, you can hear it, and you've just run over a mile or so of coral heads and lava, and then you get to the very end and you want to just finish strong, and then you got to run through deep sand. So yeah, it's I love the race. I like the area to do the race, all that stuff, and at some point I'd like to go at it again, but the timing of the year just never fit for me.
I think Jerry made the right call this year to just go ahead and not try to delay it.
Yeah. It wouldn't have been a good thing, and that was kind of at the middle of all those cancellations, and I don't know. I feel like this year is going to be really hard to get any sort of big event going. With people, like if you're trying to hold a race even in September, you have to make plans now, and you can't make a reservation maybe with an airline. They don't know, or do you want to make something and then be out all that money to travel, because you don't know who's going to be able to give you a refund or not. A lot of races, they aren't, they're in a position where they don't know that they can give you a refund, and so it's not like they're making money. They're just trying to put an event on, for a lot of the races. So.
And your big race this year was going to be Boston again. You've done Boston before, haven't you?
No, this is my first time. So, I'm a kind of a reluctant marathoner. I like to run. I've been always more of a short distance sprinter type of runner. And obviously doing Ironman and I've done a few marathons now, but my goal last year was to qualify for Boston. That was kind of my benchmark, saying, okay, well, now, I got to that. And I qualified at the Volcano to Hilo Bird Conservation Marathon.
Oh yeah, Ryan's race, yeah.
And so got my slot, and I was all excited, and training was actually going really well this year. And started, I guess, in February, starting getting some inklings of, disruptions, and that was a big bummer to not be able to fulfill that.
Well, it's been delayed, right?
Well, it's been delayed till September 14th, and like I said, I'm suspicious right now that we're going to have another announcement, because can you really have 20,000 people come together in Boston? And Boston's not been untouched. They've had a lot of cases. Are people going to want to get together and support a race? Are you going to have support staff when people are still sick and they just are recovering from all these people getting sick? It'll be interesting. I'm still registered. They gave us the option to, get our money back or get a refund, and I haven't gotten mine back yet, but I'm leery to travel, and I think also there's going to be a huge number of people that unfortunately can't afford to go. We are definitely in that group of people that we have a business that is, it's really struggling right now, and we're doing what we can to luckily still have full employment, so we're fortunate to be able to have enough business, and we have great clients, and So we've been able to keep our staff employed, but it's definitely hurting a lot. So
how are you handling the critters? What's your protocol now for people to have their pets, their animals worked on?
Yeah, so we were actually very early on. We were doing a lot of research on how we were going to deal with this, and we were initially, seeing fewer patients. We because of a lot of even the stress of the whole situation, we did cut back our hours. We normally are open 6 days a week, but we cut our Saturdays out so that we could kind of give our staff more time to recover. And then we almost immediately went to what we call curbside service, where people call, they arrive, they either stay in the car or in the parking lot. We bring their animal into the exam room or into our treatment area. The client stays outside. Any contact that we have with the client, we have face mask, gloves, and we try to make that contact with the person only a few seconds maybe, and do all of our conversations on the phone, pictures, some video if we need to, but so everything, the animal still gets all their treatments done. We were limiting all of our exams and our appointments to more urgent type stuff. One, because we just didn't want people coming out if they really didn't need to, as well as conserving resources. Almost everything we use crosses over to the human side, and so we have medicines that are in short supply, PPE that's in short supply. All of our staff was my mother-in-law and my daughter and my wife were making face masks early on. So we designed, yep, they had several prototypes. We designed ones that had, material with a pocket that you could put actual filter in, that were true face masks. And so we really worked on all our protocols to make sure that anything that was touched was wiped down. We didn't handle any credit cards, all the things that a lot of places that that we were labeled as essential. And so we had to stay open. And we wanted to stay open. Like I said, we wanted to keep our employees employed, and and we have plenty of urgent stuff every day that we need to take care of. So there wasn't an option to close. But there are a lot fewer cases. So, and we're trying to get people, and not only our business but other business owners around town. We're trying to still out and support them, and get some of the takeout food every once in a while, and because we know so many people that are out of work that we're trying to support them as much as we can, and try to get people to understand that buying from the local businesses is so essential. We all like to get the cheapest price, but for us, if you buy it from us, then we're giving you that service. We're getting you the knowledge that goes behind not just buying a product, but knowing if it's good or bad or the right appropriate thing for your animal. So.
And we've been lucky. I mean, we're lucky here in Hawaii that, I buy my coffee from Dana Leong, and they're friends. I mean, they're friends that I know. There's a deal right now at the Hibera farm just off of Mana Road, where they do it twice a week, where if you bring a bag with $15 cash, they fill your bag up. The next day you pick it up, kind of thing, which I know a lot of people, would not have that opportunity.
Yeah. I grew up on a coffee farm. My mom has Mother Goose Farms as her label, and organic Kona coffee. But it's been really kind of a blessing for us, and in a way that my mother-in-law, Jelane's mom, has been here. She usually visits us every year for a few weeks, and she got stuck here. Um, but she's been helpful, and just being able to have her and our daughter be able to stay home and not have to be at work, or allowed us to kind of carry on the business because it's been very stressful. And but they've started 3 gardens in the back, so we've got
Wow.
produce, we've got peppers and lettuce and carrots and beets and tomatoes and celery. And I mean, almost you name it, they're growing it and or trying. Some of the fruits are hard, but we're also very fortunate that my parents bring us avocados, and and we've had friends that have given us fish, and we trade those things all the time. And so I think we are very fortunate in some ways if you can live off the land a lot here. um, so it's been good in that respects. We're eating more local, I think, and we're eating more of those fresh things out of the backyard even. So
Yeah, that's like we're lucky up here too with the cattle ranch, Parker Ranch and stuff with locally produced beef.
hmm
A lot of this stuff we don't. I guess sometimes we don't realize how self-sufficient we can be.
yeah, yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I think it's hopefully you always look at some of these things and say, well, what can we do to make this more permanent, or help to make life better for everybody, and healthier. And one of my things too is you look at all the clean air right now around the world, and okay, well, maybe we can drive less, we can bike more, make it safer for us to get around, buy an electric car, or do whatever you feel like you can do to take care of our Mother Earth. And so do our part, because there's a lot of us here, and we're using too many resources for what she has. So
yeah, I know I've gotten a lot of inquiries, because of the bike ed stuff that I do for Path, that there are a lot of the keikis, because they're home now, they're actually are out biking and
hmm
and doing that more than they normally would be, because I guess you can only play Fortnite so much. And
yeah,
it's been great to see that. That's one of the things I wish I hope that we can see carry over, where adults are out biking with helmets. Remember to wear your helmet. Sorry, I know I teased you about a certain individual not wearing her helmet, but it's fine.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, and I think it's also been a little bit challenging, just in the sense that right now getting outside and biking and running, and you might want to go on your favorite trail, but you can't go if it's too crowded, and so we've been getting up at 4:45, and well, Jolene and her mom have been doing it more consistently than me.
Oh, like out on Wailua Trail, yeah.
Yeah, or there's another road that we run on a lot, but past 6 a.m., it starts getting too busy where it's crowded. And so um, I think a lot of this is we're learning more about where we're going with this thing, and hopefully it's actually much more prevalent than we thought, which is going to mean that it's maybe not as contagious, or not as deadly, which is going to help us. But I think the precautions initially are always good to be on the safe side until we have more information. And so, but it's made made significant changes, and everything that we're doing right now. So
Yeah, I noticed that even, when where I go out and stuff, um, my instinct, of course, is to pet dogs. I don't care if they're slobbering on me and stuff, but that has actually now gone away.
yeah,
And people with their dogs in the past, that people would just let their dogs run and stuff. And I've noticed the dog walkers, and there's a lot more of them now, are not letting their dogs go to people.
yeah. because then they have to come close to the person to gather them back. And yep. So yeah, it's changed. So.
And we won't get, because of our cat loving friends, we won't even talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get a few cats here and there that I know that they do walk them, but cats are funny. You have to kind of be allowed in their space and allow them to do what you want. So yeah, dogs are man's best friend, but cats are just there to allow you to be in their space.
Well, people are cats kind of casual friends.
Yeah.
Is there any advice you can give to pet owners right now on what they can do to their pets? And I guess we can stick with cats and dogs. Up till this minute, I never even thought about people that have inside cats and cat litter.
I guess, fairly open-ended question, but when the good things right now, we know that at least right now, we have an understanding that pets are not really affected by the virus as much as we think, or as much as some people have thought. Just keeping them exercised, I think a lot of our animals probably think it's the best thing ever because we're home all the time now and hanging out with them and, going on more walks maybe. There's plenty of food. There's been no shortages of supplies that we know of. We've still been able to go out, get cat litter, dog food, those sorts of things. So we haven't experienced any significant shortages. We did do a little extra stocking up just because we knew the supply lines were going to be maybe a little slower. We aren't allowed to order medicines in as many, the quantity that we would like to all the time. So we just order a little bit more often. We always have ongoing drug shortages, and we deal with those the best we can. But pets, cats and dogs, that's who I deal with on a daily basis. I haven't seen anybody that's been sick that we could confirm. There is testing for animals, but we don't believe that it's necessary for anybody that I've seen, and no one in the state so far. Yeah, I think just trying to really continue their same routines. They feel stresses. Cats can really feel the stresses of the households. Making sure you take care of them, change the litter boxes, and give them their own space. Sometimes they need that. So.
Yeah, it is. See, that's kind of, there's a house cat here, Sebastian, that kind of roams free whenever he goes wherever he wants to and stuff. So I would have never thought about cats getting stressed, which that's true. That's very true.
Yeah. We see a lot more urinary tract infections or cystitis, not really infections, but, cats, display their stress sometimes with over grooming, but also sometimes bladder problems, whereas people and dogs have more GI problems with stress. So it's just one of those things to try and keep their routines the same, keep them on their same foods, be safe about going out, get their same litter, get their same food, don't make any changes. Don't just buy the stuff at the corner store or wherever you might be getting it. So keep them on their same foods. So.
That's that. Yeah, that's another thing I wouldn't even thought about. I wouldn't have changed it. I wouldn't think to change it. But do you guys ever get any asthma drugs? Because I need asthma drugs right now.
Are you barking or meowing?
My bark has a little bit of a rasp to it. It is funny when the person who owns that people that own the house, they come and cut the grass. Boy, that wipes me out.
Yeah.
I have allergies. I got asthma and stuff like that. But it's just the things that you never, wouldn't have even noticed before,
Yeah.
you know. It would
No,
become
all those same things that people deal with. A lot of times, we're dealing with the same problems, and we, especially if you guys are all home, everybody's around their animals more. They're maybe be realizing them more. The actual incidence of these issues might not actually be anymore, but now you're actually watching your dog scratch all day long, and so yeah, we can work through those things. But yeah.
Have you noticed anything about I mean, being a trail person myself and runner kind of thing, I've noticed that there's been, maybe it's just because we notice it now, that there's been some dog interaction with people that's not for the best. I mean,
Yeah,
aggressiveness in pets.
um, I mean, we see it all the time, and living in Kona, where the population is a little bit higher, where you have dog walkers and people that are afraid of animals. I don't get to. I mean, I obviously don't treat people, so we don't see the human injuries. We hear them secondarily because we would treat the animal. We do see lots of animal aggressions, and so we always making sure your dog's on a leash. And one of my pet peeves is the retractable leashes, because you really have no control over your dog when it's 20 feet away from you.
Oh.
And having them on that short 6-foot leash, or even shorter 1-foot leash, when you're passing someone on a trail that might only be a few feet wide with 2 people and 2 dogs, you have to have them almost by the collar to be able to control them. And some dogs are just excited to see the next dog, or person, it's like you see all the time, but some are not. And some people aren't conscientious about approaching animals in a safe way or asking. And same thing with some dogs. They aren't always appropriate about approaching the other dog. They just want to play. They just want to jump on them. They're just excited. Maybe it's a puppy or exuberant, but the other dog, maybe it has some arthritis and it just is achy and it doesn't want to be played on. And so, yeah, we do see those things. And when you get people out walking more because they have more time, maybe. And so, yeah, we've seen a couple of extra incidents where we see dog bites and things like that.
Yeah, I did the Captain Cook Challenge up here. Didn't do the swim part, but I went out. I hadn't ridden the old Fuji mountain bike here for a while, and I went out and ran Mana Road, and then I rode in the neighborhoods up there, which I know most of the neighborhoods. I'm up there all the time. I have clients and stuff, but I even subconsciously, when I went on one loop, there was this beautiful white dog, and he just kind of looked at me. He was real mellow about it. He didn't like make any kind of aggressive moves. He didn't wag his tail, but I kind of thought about it and went, okay, he's okay. But then one of the other neighborhoods, dogs bark, and there were a couple of dogs that were barking. And I kind of went, maybe I'm not going to go that route again, just because people have been letting their dogs pretty much out of the yards a lot of times.
Yeah. A lot of dogs are, they like to bark, that they're communicating. They're excited to see someone walking by or running by. But you don't know. They're being protective of their place, their yard. Obviously, you're not going to go in and jump in their yard. But you don't always know when a loose dog is running around. Maybe that, is it safe to approach them? As someone who's been around animals their whole life, I don't approach loose dogs. And if I do, or if I'm trying to help them, there's certain very cautious ways that you can do that. I've been attacked by dogs out running or walking around. But one was by a lady that just had her dog off leash, and she thought she had the right to do that when she didn't. And so you have to be careful.
practicing aloha with your animals too, not just people aloha, but animal aloha.
Yeah, exactly. So we all have to share the space. So you have to do it respectfully.
I've been noticing your hat there. Have you done the Escape from Alcatraz? Is that what the
Yeah.
hat's?
Yep. That one. Yeah, it's you get into this wardrobe of which hat, which event shirt am I going to wear today? So um, I was it 2017? I did Escape from Alcatraz. Unfortunately, I didn't get to Escape from Alcatraz. That was the year they canceled the swim,
Oh,
and they had big chop in the bay, so they canceled the swim and they did a bike run. So, but I went back last year, and we had amazing conditions last year. We actually had dolphins in the bay, so we got to swim next to dolphins, and it was just glass. And so, yeah, so it was a fantastic race last year, and not well trained, but I had a good time, and got to be able to swim across the bay, and the weather in that part of the country, along the coast there it's always cool, and my body does better in cooler climates anyway. So
oh, that's
yeah,
interesting.
I
How was
don't
the water to
respond
swim
well
in?
to.
How was the bay water to swim in? Not, was it clear?
It was, yeah, it was clear. It wasn't, you can't see very far. The bottom's muddy, and there's sediment, but I felt it was clear. It didn't, yeah, there wasn't any issues at all. Obviously cold, 55 degrees.
Oh,
So I did do a couple practice swims near the near the exits, and just kind of got my bearings, and wetsuit, booties, double caps, and once I got swimming, I was great. Yeah, no issues at all.
and
So
my buddy, I don't know if you know Eric Gieselman from Hoka.
yep,
Yeah, that's Eric's big race and stuff.
yep, yeah. So
Yeah.
I've seen him out there, I've met him out there, and yeah. So I really like that race. It's unfortunately very expensive to do, and so but for me, it's one of those things that I think I just the adventure of doing new things, going different places. I was extremely fortunate to do Xterra France last year also.
Yeah. Oh, that's why you guys went there. Okay. Part of the reason.
Yeah, and well, to my wife's chagrin, I planned this race because we were going to go, and it cost us some experience days, or travel days to get to the race, and but um, it's just one of those experiences that you can't pass up, and so
Did you
yeah.
find it being very different from, I mean, you've done Xterra Maui?
Yeah, I've done so Xterra Hawaii Island here since it started a couple of years ago, and then Xterra Maui, the championships over there. Um, the France race was the race itself was great. We were just at a big, huge deficit because we didn't speak any French, and they really didn't speak very much English at all. The whole event, it was all in French, and so we just got by with what we could. And I taking high school French and college French, not speaking it for almost 30 years, it doesn't get you far.
Fromage. I need some fromage.
So, but I mean, just beautiful country, beautiful course. I would go back in a heartbeat. So.
Oh yeah, that I'm like you in that I'd rather do something different or new. I mean, I'm great. It's fun doing stuff that you know and are comfortable with, but the whole thing about going out somewhere and going, okay, let's see what happens here.
Yeah, yeah. And the quality of the trails, it was just amazing. So yeah, it was fun.
Was it as muddy as Maui?
I've never done a race muddier than 2 years ago in Maui. I have a picture, I'm, of my kit, and unfortunately it was white, and it was obviously brown. It never did come clean. I wore it once at one of the little P-Man races type things, and but I don't know that I can really wear it again. So muddiest race of my life. So.
Speaking of equipment, what kind of equipment? What shoes do you run in?
So I have been running in Saucony Convaras for a few years. I tried out a few different things, and I think also coming into it as a non-runner, 10 years ago maybe. Went through Newton's for a few years. Actually really liked their shoes for a while. They had some issues, and their quality control, I think, went down for a few years. And so I switched over to, Big Island Running Companies. I use them as get my shoes there almost exclusively. And so tried on a pair, and I've kind of been stuck on those shoes since, and so I use those for training and racing. I do have some race flats that I use for shorter stuff, but everything I do is 5K, 10K or more. So
Well, what bike do you have now?
Flats,
Which bike?
So I got after a couple of years, when I knew I was going to do triathlons for a while. I have a truck speed concept for triathlon, mechanical, but have some decent wheels, and and again, train and race on the same bike, same wheels. Road bike, another truck Madone. And so for mountain biking, I have a friend in Colorado, and so they hooked me up with a Santa Cruz Tallboy, which is, for me, it was kind of a balance of, kind of an all-around bike that I can go out and have fun with, but still kind of race on it. I'm getting older, I'm getting slower, and I'm not at the very pointy end of the race. So, everything I buy has to have some value to it besides just a race, equipment. So,
do you find yourself seeking equipment that's more comfortable now?
No, maybe I should. But I like, even with my shoes, I've tried out Hoka's, I've tried out different brands. I've never fit well with the super plush shoe. I have a I use I just have never, they just didn't fit my foot, basically. So.
Yeah, I transitioned from back in the day, New Balance was the only thing I could fit because they had a 4E. I have a wide foot. And then I was on Newton's for quite a few years. I agree with you on the Newton's. Boy, they were the I forget what model it was, but it was a wider model and stuff. They were great. And then they changed.
Yep. Yeah. When they changed, and it's, I think all runners will admit to this, you get a shoe, you like it, and then all of a sudden they come out with a new model. It might have the same name, but it just doesn't fit the next year, or the materials that they use are slightly different, so it doesn't fit, and you end up having to change. And I spend probably 3 hours trying on different shoes before you maybe find something that fits, and then you're stuck with it for 300 miles.
Yeah, that's that. Well, what the heck? They're brand new shoes. I'm gonna go ahead and use them anyway.
Yeah, right. So. Yeah.
Do you have a vest or anything that you run in? Do you have a ultimate direction or anything?
I have most of my running, I use a belt, and I've used the Nathan belts for a long time, and they just seem to fit the best for my body. And then I did get one of their vests to start doing the longer runs, and especially here in Kona, you have to have lots of hydration. And I'm a little bit bigger, closer to 190 pounds mostly, and so I need a lot of water. So
I
can't go on and I talk to some of my friends, and they're going, well, I'm going to do a no hydration 20-mile run, and like you might find me at mile 10, passed out. So
I was amazed. I interviewed Billy a few days ago and stuff. His rule of thumb, if it's under 4 hours, which Billy is fast, he doesn't take any water.
Yeah.
It's like,
well, I said I'd be dead.
Oh yeah, pretty much.
But I've tried out different things and different nutritions, and kind of going back to sticking what and
So
I've done
what do you use for
tests,
nutrition? Do you use gels, or do you have a sport drink of choice?
Yeah, so I do the Team Infinite,
Yeah.
and kind of got hooked on that when I was training for Ironman, and just by chance. And the great thing about them is they do all their custom mixes. So been on their stuff for 6 years now, and my mixes might have changed a little bit, but they've always got something for me. And but I use their recovery drinks, their coffee drink in the morning, the mud. It's absolutely great. I mix my coffee drink with my coffee, get a little triple shot. And then so they have caffeinated drinks, and
yes, they have caffeinated drinks. I did Maui Marathon a few years ago, and I had been using their Infinite stuff, and David Cobb was doing it too. And what's the one that's the super caffeinated one that they have?
The jet fuel.
Well, there's another one too where it's like
they don't make it anymore. Yeah.
The heart attack or whatever it's called. Napalm, that's it.
Yeah, that you have to be careful with that. So you want your heart rate up a little bit, but not that much. Yeah. So, but it's good. I can mix up their stuff into slurries where I can get a whole Ironman race out of it, just in 3 bottles, and just mix water with it, or drink water into that. I did my marathon on doing that, where I mix up a concentrate, and then I'll just take a sip of that and a swig of water. So it's been working great for me, and I've had some sweat tests done. And Levelon is a company that I had. They've been out at Ironman for a few years now, where they will do a patch in your arm. They'll test your sweat. And just kind of realized that I never thought I was a heavy sweater, but I was also losing a lot more sodium than I really thought, because I never came back crusted, or thought I was losing a lot of salt. But and then was able to then use that to formulate my custom mix, and definitely made a difference. So
yeah, I liked Infinite back in the day. Of course, now I am sponsored by Tailwind, so I promote Tailwind. But no, they had good stuff. I like the fact that you could devise a mix for yourself to fine tune it.
Yep. And they're willing to work with you. And, the rest of the time I just try to eat whole foods, though.
PB&J.
It works best. So
every once in a while, maybe some of this.
Not during.
Finish line time. How many Ironmans have you done?
Just one.
But it was the Ironman, right?
Yep. So obviously living in Hawaii and on the Big Island, lucky enough to get a slot. And my ramp up to Ironman was really fast. So I was doing Lava Man, had done Lava Man twice. Decided to do Honu. Did not put my name in the bag for the Ironman that year. And that's when they had their whole lottery legal issues with the name lottery, whatever.
Yeah.
And so did Honu, finished, and then they announced their selections for Ironman Kona in June instead of April, and woke up that morning and saw my name in the paper, and so I had 4 months to go from doing my third Olympic, my first half, and then all of a sudden doing my first Ironman. So, but it was fun. It was a learning experience. It was amazing to be able to do that in your hometown. And growing up, I did part of Ironman, with one of my dad's friends, fireman that did it back in the day, and went out and ran, with him 6 miles, to help him finish at midnight, type of thing. So had some roots, I guess, back to the 80s. So
Did you ever do Jerry's race when she had the Kehoe?
yeah, I did it the last year that they had it. So,
I liked that race. That race was so different.
Yeah, it's totally different, and brutal bike. There's no lack of hills down here. So, but fun race. Yep.
And the swim was so much different. Swimming in Kehoe is so much different than swimming out at A Bay.
Yeah, some deep water swim out there. So, and kind of like what you mentioned in Escape from the Captain Cook Challenge. Swimming across the bay, it's deep water there. So,
do you have any? I mean, we're all obviously all of us are pretty much on hold. But do you have any races that you've been kicking around? I usually ask people, what if you had a chance to do one race, whether it's a triathlon or a run or a swim or whatever, what would it be?
Well, obviously Boston was my big kind of celebration race this year. We were going to go and visit. Never been to Boston besides through the airport, so want to go see the history of Boston and stuff. But the rest of the year was Xterra, and I don't know where we are with the rest of the races in August. So I've been wanting to get more back into trail running, and so I think I did the Ka'u Coffee Mill run last year. So trying to do more trail running and maybe getting into the Hurt series and doing some of their races over there. It's an easy hop over there to run. So
Not an easy race, but an easy flight.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And not Hurt, but some of the Hurt series. Like I said, I'm a reluctant long distance runner. And I'm still at this point don't think I'll ever do an ultra. So you never know. Every time I say I'm never going to do something, I've ended up doing it. So, yeah. But I think for me, I traveling and running, going somewhere and doing a marathon, or I think that's some of our focus right now. And running is so easy. Traveling and doing a triathlon is infinitely harder with the amount of gear and like in France, I rented a bike, so that made it a lot easier, but you still had a wetsuit and helmet and shoes and stuff that you had to lug around with you on the rest of your trip if you're not just going to race.
Yeah, trail running just seems to be very it's more simple for sure.
Yeah, some shoes and maybe a belt, that's it. So yeah,
I ask people about Western states because a lot of them are ultra runners and stuff, and it's like all you need is your shoes, and some way to get into a race.
Yeah. So but no, I don't have any big races the rest of the year on my calendar. I'm probably going to try and just stick close to home and do what might be going on here. Unfortunately, the volcano races just got canceled.
Yeah, the Ohia. Yeah.
Yeah, I really, really like running up in Volcano, and that half marathon. Just really, really like that race. Um, so we'll see what the year holds. I think a lot of people aren't going to be able to afford to travel as much, and it'll be one of our first years that we haven't traveled in the summer for a while, and so getting away is good, and just seeing the world and seeing other people is great. But right now we're doing it like this.
At the Zoom world, yeah.
Zoom world. So
yeah, I'm looking for. I mean, Kau so far hasn't been canceled, and that's a tough race. I mean, that's a hard trail race
tough
for a
race.
half.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
But it's beautiful. I mean, and it's funny. I grew up here, and I had never been up to that part of the mountains.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of the unfortunate things on the Big Island is so much of the land here is private that you have no access to hiking. Like like you did in Colorado, where you had trailhead all over the place, where you could access the mountains and camping, or even that sort of thing. Where here it's trying to get to certain places is unfortunately a lot of people trespass, and that's not right either, but happens. So
yeah, we can hopefully Alex and Billy will continue their series, because it would have been interesting having the 50K 50 miler up on R1. Mm-hmm. I hadn't really been up on R1 for a lot of years. Maybe last time I was up there was maybe 15 years ago. Yeah. And I went up a couple of times as I was going back and forth to Hilo to get permits for my race and stuff. And it just that's hopefully that race will come off maybe next year. I hope.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So we can get those. And I think for us, maybe non-ultra runners, mixing in at least the 10K or half marathon on top of the 30K or something, 50K. So
yeah, and I haven't talked to Keith recently. I don't know if what we're going to do as far as the Mana 10s in August. My guess is probably not going to happen just because and stuff.
Yeah.
But hey, Jacob, thank you so much for sharing, everything that you shared today. And I mean, again, I am totally always surprised by my lack of knowledge of the people that I consider my friends. And it's been great to be able to not only me to get to know you better, but also to let everybody else out on the Zoom world know you and know we'll talk about your family another time. We'll hopefully have another meetup and stuff. But
yeah, Jolene has infinitely much more to say than I do. And obviously a whole different perspective on everything. So, but yeah, no, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Okay. Thank you, Jacob. Thank you so much. Right. Can't thank Jacob enough. Dr. Jacob Head, a great athlete, modest, like it seems like so many of my friends are. But he had to go. He needed to get to, he's on the state board for the veterinary board, the state of Hawaii. So he wears many hats. I can't tell you how much that his family does. Oh gosh, they volunteer at everything. They sign up for races. His wife is great. His daughter is an incredible athlete. And I didn't realize that he had qualified for Boston and that it was going to be his big race this year. I just feel sorry, that it had to be canceled and everything, but things are what they are. So again, thanks for listening. Thanks for, being able to listen into a little bit of our island here and our athletes here. Again, if you want to support the race, you can subscribe. here on YouTube, or you can go to iTunes, Stitcher, pretty much everything for the audio version of the podcast. You can also go to patreon.com/HawaiiUltra. If you want to donate a cup of coffee, 2 cups of coffee per episode, that would be awesome. And you can always email me at joe@joefireball.com. Be glad to answer any questions. And hope everybody is staying out, being active, walking their dogs, walking their cats, if that's what you do. But again, mahalo nui loa and aloha.